Freedom's the answer. What's the question? You're listening to Ernest Hancock.
Fighting for here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, and my good friend Scott Horton from antiwar.com/radio. You know, the one thing I want to make sure that we understand is that this is a cultural battle. All the other stuff, the vote totals and candidates that run and coverage, that's a side effect of people just knowing better. And with the internet now, all of a sudden, everything has changed. And while we're talking, Scott, we're producing the video, I have a camera on War is Over, If You Want It. Happy Christmas from John and Yoko. And I talked about this one time on my show about this cultural shift that John Lennon and Yoko Ono were trying to accomplish in the early 70s. And it was very important to me to understand what it was they were trying to. Of course, the media tried to poo-poo him, and the military-industrial complex and the Nixon administration wanted to get rid of him and deport him, all this other stuff. And the reason is that he was getting people to think that, you know, we don't have to be at war all the time. War is over. And then in small print, if you want it. Well, a listener sent me an original copy of one of the postcards, and I had it framed, and I put it up, and we've been showing it, and some people have been sending me emails, and they go, what is that? You know, I'm going, oh, that's an original from the campaign. Well, that's what antiwar.com, antiwar.com/radio, Scott Horton's program, a lot of what we do here is all about changing the mindset, the culture, so that you can even contemplate that peace is possible. Give peace a chance. All we are saying. I mean, this is the role that antiwar.com has. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to promote antiwar.com, and you're in a fundraiser right now, so go ahead and give your spiel, man.
All right, well, look, antiwar.com, thank you, Ernie. Antiwar.com has been around since 1995. It was founded by Eric Garris, who's a plumb-line libertarian, and its purpose originally was opposition to Clinton's interventions in the Balkans. Interventions meaning, you know, killing people. And Justin Raimondo, his friend, is our head writer, and I do the radio show there, and we have really great editors and people who basically scour every newspaper on Earth all day, every day, and make sure, and the site is updated in real time all day, every day, of every breaking story you could possibly imagine of any import of international significance. And we have the very best in-house columnists that write for us, as well as we feature viewpoints from left, right, libertarian, and everybody else, whatever we can get. And there are even fights, as you know, within the libertarian movement, and we just pay those no mind, and we link to whoever's doing good work, and with emphasis on opposition to war and, of course, the domestic consequences of the war, particularly the police state, as it's being solidified around us. And so, you know, it's like, in fact, we sell that same bumper sticker, the rip-off version, not the original, at libertystickers.com. War is over if you want it. And, well, I forgot what I was going to say, another sticker. Libertarians stay anti-war when liberals are in power. That's one of our stickers there. And that's certainly true about antiwar.com. Is, you know, we're plumb line anti-state, and we're never going to change. It doesn't matter which administration is in power. And, you know, it's funny you talk about this cultural shift. There's a poll right now, news.antiwar.com. It's our top headline right now on antiwar.com, is that the polls are really shifting, and the American people are finally starting to oppose the war. But you know what the catch is, Ernie.
What?
Partisan politics. And check out this paragraph here. Americans are roughly split down the middle on their view of Obama's general foreign policy, oddly split down party lines. Odd because Afghanistan, President Obama's centerpiece foreign policy, is still surprisingly popular among Republicans, but overwhelmingly opposed among Democrats. Yet when the question shies away from mentioning Afghanistan and just mentions Obama, the split turns the opposite way, and the Democrats support Obama's foreign policy, the one that they oppose. And the Democrats oppose, and the Republican voters oppose Obama's foreign policy, the one that they support. this war. And so the issue gets all confused. But that's that's really what antiwar.com is for, is cutting through all that and saying, forget all that. Peace and liberty are not left-wing or right-wing issues. And, really, come on, Ernie, in America, in our tradition, the best of conservatism means let's conserve the classical liberalism of the founding generation, the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights, and let's make sure that no matter what changes come, we don't ever give up our Bill of Rights. I mean, that's the essence of good, true conservatism right there. Is at the core, we all agree on those key principles, like in the Declaration and the Bill of Rights. And, without those, we're lost. But with those, that's all we need, really. And, of course, peace is a big part of that. You can't have your Bill of Rights in a perpetual state of warfare. And every single I guess everybody but Hamilton, maybe even Hamilton, conceded that freedom is impossible in a state of perpetual war. The founders of this country didn't even want us to have a standing army. So
we had a Republican.
We don't need to go on foreign adventures with a professional.
We have a Republican majority now, came in, and a lot of it under this Tea Party thing and the Promise with America. And I read that Promise with America, and of course it's brought out just as they did in '94, 6 weeks before the '94 election cycle, right, the midterm elections, right after the Ross Perot big woohoo. And then we have the Ron Paul revolution. We get to the midterm election. They do it again. Instead of Contract on America, now it's a Promise with America. And in that promise, they were saying, oh, yeah, missile shield, support the troops, which means more money for a military-industrial complex, and be in support of sanctions in Iran, not on Iran, not about Iran, not talking about or meeting, no, in Iran. And I'm going, wow, where did they get the chutzpah or the power and the influence to have that very phrase in there? So, I mean, even though we have a big change with all of these Republicans coming into Congress, are we really going to get the change that we're looking for? What do you think?
No, I think it's doubtful. The Republican Party has always been committed to warfare. It was founded in warfare, and that's what it excels in. I mean, we condemn Woodrow Wilson for getting us into World War I, but if it was the Republicans, if they'd had their way, we'd have been in World War I the whole time. That's all Theodore Roosevelt did all day long, was denounce Woodrow Wilson for not getting us into the war yet. The history of the Republican Party is the history of piles of skulls everywhere, man. That's the Filipinos. And so, no, that's not going to change. And I don't think, well, look, political power, the political conservatives, they're going to stay that kind of conservative. I like to believe that the story, as told by Justin Raimondo, for example, about how, hey, there's a lot of non-interventionist tradition on the right that ought to be hearkened back to, that modern-day conservatives ought to be able to latch on to and identify with. I like to believe that can be effective. I don't know any reason why the typical kind of, Jacksonian right-wing Southern pro-military type ought to not be a Jeffersonian peacenik type. I mean, it's Republic or Empire. Those are your choices.
Well, Dr. Paul made it clear that when you're coming into this next election cycle, it's just going to be economics. Where the empire will end, these wars will end, these bases will end, these occupations will end. It will end because we don't have a choice. We have a story up right now on the video screen. British Defense Chief, 30 to 40 years of Afghanistan occupation ahead on antiwar.com. Tell me, the British are selling this, or are the people buying it?
Well, no, but I think, the people of Britain have the same problem as the people of America. They're more or less opposed to this, but it's the last issue on their list or whatever, domestic concerns, financial concerns. And since they always beat us over the head with this lie that war is good for the economy, every explanation in the world is proffered as to why we're all broke, other than, hey, they blew trillions of dollars killing people in Iraq for one, and if they hadn't have blown that money, that might be the money that would be used to employ us or something like that, The connection is not immediately obvious, and TV certainly never emphasizes it. And so, what happens is people end up saying, well, we used to care a lot about the war, but right now we care mostly about our economic situation. And the idea, the connection between, the F-35 fighter and their financial situation, unless you beat them over the head with it, I guess they don't realize. So I guess that's me beating them over the head with it. That's why you're broke. They spent all your money on the war. They blew up a big bubble in order to make the war seem free, and now you're suffering through the correction, the Great Depression.
Oh, we're suffering. We're suffering, and there's more suffering coming. Go to the freedomsummit.com website, freedomsummit.com, and make sure you check it out. Select student when you register. Come see Scott Horton at the freedomsummit.com. Hey, Scott, thanks for coming on, man. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
I always appreciate it, too.
We'll be right back here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, in just a little bit.